welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host Vic, aka MrNeverChillin, and this is episode number 36. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host Lunatic Ablivion.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
And this week we're joined by one of our special guests and members of the Chill Zone community, Eddie, aka Panda.
How's it going, everybody?
So, Panda, if you want to go ahead, like introduce yourself, like who you are, what do you do for a living, fun fact, or games that you're into.
Yep, so I go by Panda, aka PandaSole also. So right now I am trying to put together my gaming team, get your kills up. Got a lot of things going on. Right now I'm trying to actively go into the Air Force, so a lot of things are on hold until I actually get on base and things like that. I mostly play a lot of shooters, football, big fan of football.
Mm-hmm.
2K somewhat. Fun fact about me, I love Japan, North Korea, and I love their music and fashion.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Definitely unique for sure. But what's going on with you, Roger? What have you been playing lately?
Well, it's kind of the same thing as every week. We've been playing Valorant now. We started a new co-op game, so we're going to be playing Rainbow Six, as most people probably saw if they tuned in today. Other than that, I ended up beating everybody or Nobody Saves the World, which that was pretty cool. I like that game. Other than that, just the same games that we've been playing. Nothing new really. Still trying to beat Ghost of Tsushima, things like that. How about you, Vic? What are you up to now?
Just obviously like you just mentioned, Valorant is our consistent basis every week, at least 1 to 2 days a week on that. We recently beat Ascent last week, and I beat Halo Infinite recently, and then I also
Oh, we
Yep,
seem
that's
to have
that's
lost.
me. That's me.
But yeah, I recently beat the Gunk today. Actually, that was a really fun game. If you haven't played it, I definitely highly recommend that game and check it out. It's a nice quick game, 4 hours roughly, and I'm gonna upload my playthrough of it as well on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out at a later point. But yeah, man. Other than that, let's talk a little bit about our co-op stream that we had today. Definitely want to thank everybody who did check us out live earlier. But Roger, what's your first impressions on Rainbow Six Extraction so far?
I think the game's a little clunky, but that's to be said. I was talking with my community about it and what they thought, and we kind of come to a consensus and agreement here that the game is clunky. It's a Rainbow Six game. It's to be expected. I think if this gets any sort of labor of love, like we've seen from any of the Rainbow Six games, like Breach, for example, or Rainbow Six Siege, we're really going to see a lot of that labor of love come into the game to make it a better game altogether. So I'm excited for the game. It has a lot of potential. I think the biggest flaw or the fault of the game is that you're meant to continue and play at like the same three levels in a zone, 10 times just to complete these three missions that you can only do each time you go in. And that's if you complete them all. And then if you only complete one, well, your friends may be on their mission, so you just have to play through, play through, play through in it.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like I'm gonna get the repetition, and that's gonna really kill it for me at some point. But other than that, I think a lot of things are explained about the game, so it definitely comes at you and tells you this is how it works. Well, why are the enemies saving these people, and why is no one else really alive? Oh, well, it's because of the foam that surrounds your character.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really cool that we get that information because a lot of games just sort of don't explain those things.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely agree. Rainbow Six so far has been good. I keep a notebook of all my games that I play so I can later on review them. And I did write down some notes in regards to Rainbow Six Extraction. Visually, I do think it is a very stunning looking game. Everything's so detailed, even down to like the smaller textures. Like even when you get up close, usually games like it gets like blurred out or something like that, but not in this game. Like when I was getting close to things, it looked pretty damn detailed, and that's important to have that minuscule stuff. And the color scheme was pretty cool to have. Like it has like its bright colors, but it's in a dark setting, so it has a nice balance when it comes to that. Gunplay feels amazing as well. I feel like every gun feels different, and you feel the recoil. Like when I first shot that
Yeah.
first gun, and that just said zoop, I was like, oh shit, like I gotta shoot this gun a little bit more
Yeah.
controlled, and then I was good. And then there were some guns I could hold the trigger, and it said it was pretty consistent. So I was like, all right, I like that. The abilities are fun and useful. Some of them I'm still trying to get used to each like characters' different like abilities or specialty. So that's been pretty cool, and just something how each round is different because you're playing with a different character most of the time. Unless you didn't take any damage, then you can replay again. So that's been fun. Um, and then only one negative thing that I really had was just getting to set up the process. I don't even know if it's not necessarily the game. It's how Microsoft has handled the Game Pass edition of it on PC. So we that's been rough, and that's why we were late today.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think one of the things to kind of add on here is I do also like the detail, the amount of detail it goes into kind of being able to the destructibility of the world.
Hmm.
You know, I shot a single bullet through a window at an enemy and a bullet hole was left in the window. It's not like the whole window just went and shattered. No, I had a bullet hole. It was awesome. It was really well thought out. It was where my bullet had flown, so the destruction physics, they care.
Hmm.
They really do care about the destruction physics, and like I can tell that the game is playing off their same engine that they ran, Rainbow Six Siege off of, but it feels like they did well with it. It's
Right.
not just like they just threw new assets into a new engine or into the old engine and just said go with it.
Right, and I always thought Siege did a really well job at that. Is when you shoot, if you shoot one bullet through a wall or window, you're going to have that one specific hole there, and it'll slowly get bigger if you keep holding it there. Like it makes sense, the destructibility. But Eddie, have you played Rainbow Six Extraction at all yet?
Oh, I haven't, but I was going to ask on with the whole Rainbow Six franchise, where does this land as
This,
far as ranking goes? I
um,
So
played
for me,
Siege.
I got to play Siege in the very beginning when it wasn't great, and I honestly I think this game right out the gate is there's nothing really wrong with it. I think because it's meant to be a different style of game, it feels like a Ubisoft game with a little bit of grind to it, but honestly, it feels well made compared to other Ubisoft games. So I'd put it near the top in my list, but I haven't played a ton of Rainbow Six games recently.
I
right.
feel like Ubisoft makes like a handful of great games, but when it comes to a big franchise, I feel like it doesn't live up to the hype and the name of the company.
Yeah,
Yeah, especially as of
I can
late, for
kind of feel
sure.
that.
I feel like they've been dropping the ball. Like, look at the division. Like any Tom Clancy game, especially that having the name Tom Clancy in front of your game, no matter what it is
Definitely.
huge. Like the division, pretty much a flop. The Ghost Recon games, the past two ones, flops. Rainbow Six Siege is the only exception. The thing is, it had a bad launch. It turned out to be a good game. It had that redemption arc, but we haven't really had any good Tom Clancy games in a very, very long time, and it's because it's getting that Ubisoft treatment. Big open world, no detail, nothing to fill it in there, meaningless side missions. Like go ahead, and it's just like go out there and just do it. That's
Yeah, I
not.
remember Tom Clancy on PlayStation 2, like Double Agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like think about like all the Splinter Cell games, or even just think about the old Rainbow Six, Vegas 1 and 2. Those were pretty solid games.
Yeah, I agree. And I think recently a lot of their games like Ghost Recon and stuff like that have kind of been, trash. And I think this game itself is a comeback for the Tom series, the Tom Clancy's name. The series itself is going to have a resurgence if they continue to put a similar labor of love into these games.
Right, and I definitely agree with that because so far it has about 3 million players since launch, and that's a pretty big number in perspective into a game that doesn't seem as big. This seems like it could be a potential add on to Rainbow Six Siege, so for this game specifically to have 3 million players, that's huge, but I also think Game Pass has a big part into that number because it's free. Easy access,
Yeah.
Oh,
unless you're
definitely.
going through the difficulties on PC like I did, but it's easy. It's free. Why not? Go check it out. If you don't like it, you don't got to play it. But guess what? You just added to that player number that they just made.
Yeah, as long as you just clocked it once, that's it.
Yeah, but um, yeah. But let's move on here to our game releases though. This is actually one of the biggest weeks of the year, for sure. So there's a lot coming out. We're gonna start off here first. Life is Strange Remastered Collection is coming to the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, and PC. That comes out on February 1st. The Waylanders is coming to the PC on February 2nd. Sherlock Holmes: Crimes and Punishment is coming to the Switch February 3rd. And Dying Light 2: Stay Human is of course coming to all platforms on February 4th. Do Eddie, do any of these games like stand out to you that you're going to really want to play?
Dying Light 2. I've been waiting.
And why is that? Did you really enjoy the first one?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
What
I
stood out
like
to you?
uh just the concept of like Dying Light. Like I love like zombie games.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So me playing that, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is better than Dead Island
Oh yeah.
in a way. I mean, Dead Island was a great game, but when it comes to new gen games, it's a totally different aspect.
Yeah, for sure. But Roger, do any of these games stand out to you at all?
Well, I know my wife and I are excited for Life is Strange Remastered because she wants to play True Colors, but she wants to play this first. She wants to go back through them. I've never played them, and I thought I'd give it a go. The thing that sucks, though, it's digital only. It's not going to be a physical copy, and the only way to get it is on digital stores everywhere. The other thing is Dying Light 2 interests me, but scares me because they keep seeming to hype it up about it being hours and hours of content, and the problem with that is you lose good content for more content.
Right.
And so they're like, well, there's supposed to be hundreds and hundreds of hours of content. Well, if there's that many hours of content, then we're going to have an issue where the content that's in there is just copy pasted. So
Yeah,
that's what scares me, because I've had that with Dying Light 1 where it felt some of the content was just the same crap different day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really excited to check out Life is Strange Remastered Collection because, like you, Roger, I've never played this series at all. I know it's a
Yeah.
really great game according to the critics and the gaming industry alone. And like your wife, doesn't want to play True Colors until you play this one, because like apparently you can pick True Colors up and play it without having to play the first two, but
Correct.
but there's some nods that happen in True Colors that you would better understand if you played the first two games. So it only makes sense. So this will probably be a game that I definitely pick up and definitely going to review for sure.
Hmm.
But moving
now is
on.
there a release date on Dying Light 2, unofficial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's no, it's official. Yeah, it's this the 4th, this Friday.
Wow. Yep. Take my money.
But moving along here, we got moving on to our next part. Industry news. Following up with the Activision Blizzard, this is just kind of a quick update. Raven Software strike had ended recently because they successfully created a union, um, and also there's supposed to be some changes happening to the QA part of the organization. But there was one negative thing: Activision and Blizzard will not voluntarily recognize this union, which is like it's like it just continues to be the head scratcher of why can't you do anything right? These people are trying to make changes, like positive changes, and you're
Oh,
just like, oh, we're not going to acknowledge that at all.
Well, that's the thing. These unions are going to help to squash the corporate culture that's already existent. So I think we're going to maybe still see this issue even after Microsoft acquires Activision Blizzard. I don't see them supporting this union themselves as well, but this is good for the industry, in my opinion. This is what the industry needs right now, is for us to further find unions to help negligent game developers and game development studios.
Yeah, exactly. And they definitely got to make some changes. And I mean, I'm hoping that Microsoft, whenever that purchase finally goes through, that they're just gonna be like, look, we're just gonna do all the right things because clearly people who are in charge here now cannot. And that's going to be the biggest factor I think moving forward.
We can only hope that that happens, but
Yeah,
honestly, I don't see it happening.
right,
I see some changes, but not what we're expecting.
right. Another thing that happened though this week, Discord went down last week, and I mean I wasn't really affected. I was at work, so really wasn't using it. But I made the joke of, man, should they partner with PlayStation? Because this is already off to a rough start. Because you know how PlayStation crashes all the time. What's your thoughts on
all
Discord
the
crashing?
time.
Well, for me personally, I think this is just another run-of-the-mill thing that happens with Discord. Discord has been, it goes in and out. It's one of the world's biggest chat programs now. It rivals many, many other chat programs. I think Discord's numbers, they're in the millions, easily. Um, it if they partner with Sony, they partner with Sony. I don't think this is any indication of what's happening with Sony. I think their servers weren't prepared to deal with the slash commands that people were using.
Hmm.
because that's actually what was happening. People were the script commands that Discord has built in now. Those were causing issues, so they had to disable that part of the API.
Oh, okay. That definitely makes more sense then for sure. But
I also believe that. So, as part of my sneaker community, the use of bots, people are always using bots to buy things. So I think that also would play a huge role in having it disabled because a lot of those bots can get a little wild. New bots are developing and stuff like that. I believe something had to play in a role for these bots.
Yeah, honestly, it's the fact that Discord is so developer friendly that all these the API is out there, and what probably happened is something similar to a DDoS where, they're getting so many requests that they were kind of getting crippled or throttled by something at some point. And if everyone's server has the bot, then the API goes nuts.
yeah, so hopefully Discord can get a little bit more support or some stronger servers in the coming months because that would suck if Discord would constantly keep going because it's only going to get bigger for Discord. Discord's only getting bigger because of the whole crossplay and being able to talk with your friends across platform. Discord is the number one source that you use.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Discord's only going to become more important, and I think their inclusion of their working with Sony is going to be a problem, but I don't think it's going to make or break anything. I think it's just going to continue to put their platform on more places for people to access. But the bots themselves, I think, are the real issue.
Oh yeah, yeah for sure. I mean the bots can be very useful in a sense of like making sure your server doesn't get messed up, but they're like Eddie or Panda was alluding to was the whole sneaker bots like buying sneakers in regards to those kind of bots snagging stuff right away. That's where the problem lies.
And people really abuse that power.
Yeah, I can imagine, and I mean we're dealing with that even with electronics too. Is bots are buying out these graphics cards, these systems in a blink
Yep.
before the human even has a chance to buy it themselves.
Let's ban these bots.
I'm down. But moving on, though, we got some decent gaming news here. We're gonna start off with some unfortunate news first. Watchdogs Legion will be no longer receiving updates. They're going to continue in a loop of recycled old seasons that have already released. So if you miss some content, you'll be able to get it, obviously with the revolving loop. But I mean, honestly, this is sad to hear. But this is Ubisoft and Roger. This is kind of expected, isn't it?
Honestly, it's not sad to hear at all. Like, honestly, Watchdogs was still updating because that's a head scratcher to me. Honestly, the game was garbage. The game only ruined the series, I think. The fact that it had a cash shop but no multiplayer was just, it shows you how much attention Ubisoft really puts into the actual game themselves. That it's surprising to me that we saw that the Tom Clancy's game that just came out. I'm surprised that even actually functions compared. When we look at the track record of Ubisoft, this is what we need to pay attention to. Every time somebody's like, "Oh, a new Ubisoft game is coming out," we need to not forget what's happened from that studio. It's like EA. We never forget what EA has done. They have fucked us so much, and Ubisoft is doing it, and people are like, whatever.
Right. And Panda, did you play Watch Dogs at all? Like any of the games at all?
Yes, I think I played the not this one, but the last one.
Okay.
Not a really big fan of Watch Dogs. I mean, the concept is kind of okay-ish, but not my type of game. Now, I will say for the receiving no updates and recycling, that could also be a good thing for people that just now got the game and they weren't able to grab all the old OG things in the game. For them to have an opportunity to actually acquire those things, that might be a good thing. But for Ubisoft, once again, being not creative to actually think about what should we add next, that's lazy and smart on their part.
Yeah, for sure. Because like you just never know. Like maybe this was because they realized that Legion was quote unquote a flop in the sense that it's time to move on to our next game, next one that hopefully we can do better at. But I mean, until we are proven different, I don't expect any good things coming out of that in that series in a while. But moving along here to Apex Legends, they're getting their new hero called Mad Maggie. She is apparently a friend with Fuse, which was a Season 8 hero until she blew off his arm during a disagreement. That's all in their lore. She also took over the games that were happening in a limited time mode called War Games. And this is coming out February 9th when Season 12 kicks off. Roger, I know we touched on Apex a little bit, but would this character interest you in hopping back into Apex, or is it still a no?
No, not really. I think honestly, Apex Legends is one of those games that I thought would be fun to get into, but I just never really could get into it. And her character just kind of seems like a run of the mill to me.
Hmm.
There's nothing interesting or unique or new about it. It just feels like the same sort of cliche character that we get before.
What
I
about,
agree.
I about to say, what about you, Panda? You play much
I
Apex at
agree.
all?
I've played about 2 games. Not for me at all. The
Yeah.
the superpowers and the super jump. No.
No, I know what you mean. When Apex first dropped, I was like, yo, this game's dope, and no one understood what I was talking about. I was like, man, trust me, play this game, it's a lot of fun. But that was before everyone gets sweaty. Once the game gets sweaty, count me out. On to the next game because I don't even want to play a game that I have to invest hours upon hours upon hours and not even be able to play any other games because you have to play that much to win a game in Apex.
Pay to win.
Unfortunately. But moving on here to Star Wars. Star Wars got some good news earlier this week. Is they're coming out with 3 new games being made and or supervised by Respawn Entertainment, aka EA, in this sense. But Respawn Entertainment is a very good company. They're working on like I said, 3 new games. The Jedi Fallen Order sequel is being developed. They're also making an FPS and a strategy game. So it's pretty cool to see that they are branching out different genres of the games, and I'm super excited for the Fallen Order sequel because the first one was a very phenomenal game, and I'm super excited. I'm a big Star Wars fan, as everyone knows, so I'm really looking forward to it. Eddie, are you big into Star Wars at all?
I played the for the past few years. I played the latest ones. I will say I am excited about the Fallen Order, and I'm very skeptical and interested a little bit in the FPS version.
Hmm.
I'm curious on what they bring to the table. Honestly,
Right. What about you, Roger?
Honestly, I love Star Wars strategy games. The last one I played was amazing, and I can only hope that we're going to get that same kind of treatment yet again. And Respawn Entertainment only has a great track record from the reviews to the critics to just people in general. Really liked Fallen Order, and for us to get both a sequel or 3 things: a sequel, the first-person shooter, and a strategy game. That only excites me. I'm excited to see what the strategy game is because I love strategy games. Jedi Fallen Order. Now, if I play it knowing there's going to be a sequel, that excites me because I know it was a good game. And a first person shooter, I think kind of will get lost in all the noise of already existing first person shooters. So maybe I'm not so excited about that one, to be honest.
Hmm.
But it excites me to hear that we're going to finally see another strategy game for Star Wars.
Right. And honestly, the FPS is definitely one of those question marks to see how it goes out and how good it ends up being because they already said that they're not working on a Battlefront 3, which everyone was hoping that they were going to make because Battlefront 2 had a kind of like a small redemption arc. Like when it first came out, that's what triggered the whole pay to win, the whole you got to buy the loot boxes and stuff like that. That's what really triggered the lawsuits that were out there. But it eventually got into a point where the game was a lot of fun, became a lot more accessible to everyone because it became free on a lot of platforms. And for them to go, hey, we're not making a third one. Maybe this is their substitution where it's not going to be called Battlefront, but here's a new Star Wars FPS set in a different way, different concepts, different mechanics, stuff like that. So I'm very optimistic because Respawn's really good at making FPS. They made Titanfall 1 and 2 and Apex Legends, 3 very successful games.
I just hope there's no loot crates.
I don't think so. That's not in Respawn Entertainment stuff, other than I guess
Good.
Apex with the whole robots that you can get. But you get those from in game playing the game. It's not like you can buy those, so that's always good. But moving along to back to Blizzard here, they did announce, excuse me, a brand new survival game. It's not yet titled. It's set in a new universe and it's coming to PC and console. Roger, you're a big Blizzard game as you play a lot of World of Warcraft. Does this interest you at all?
No, honestly, I've quit World of Warcraft a while ago, and for Blizzard to try and break out into a new AP or IP, it just goes to show how much I think Blizzard is a dying company at this point,
Hmm.
and they know it, and they can't survive on the already existing titles because we've abandoned Overwatch 2 for the most part. Supposedly it's dropped for good. The industry says. They said that they're stopping development on it. Diablo 3 is all but Diablo 4 is all but non-existent. We're looking at, World of Warcraft is struggling to keep anyone anymore because they're not getting updates. They've had the whole sexual scandal. The prices are getting stealth updated, so people are paying more behind, after a while. Honestly, this just goes to show to me that Blizzard is like, well, we're fucked, so maybe try something new for once, which is honestly what we needed from Blizzard for a long time now, because Blizzard used to be known for a lot of games. They had a lot of games before we got to their flagship, and then once they got there, they kind of quit.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Panda, does this excite you at all for a new Blizzard game?
No, not really. So honestly, I feel like Blizzard is trying to step out of the comfort zone ish, but I don't think they'll know what to do. Honestly, I don't think they will be successful as they might think that this game might be.
Right. And I think what they're trying to do here is they see the survival genre blowing up out of nowhere, and they're like, "Ooh, we can hop into this. This could be another cash grab," and that's all they're worried about. And it'll
Yeah.
probably just come out and just be a very garbage game, just like the rest of most of their other content as of late. So it's just like, man, like, do you guys put any creativity or like any thought into like actually caring about the games, or is it always got to be about money?
Well, the developers are all but gone. Overwatch, for example, all the developers who really mattered, they quit because of the timeline that they kept being given, and then they got no resources, and then they put time into things, and then they scrapped it because they didn't want it anymore. So there's a lot of issues with Blizzard development right now, and especially with like, all the issues with people quitting and stuff like that. It's just I don't see them having the workforce for it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's crazy to see how many employees actually work for Activision and Blizzard as a whole, because they're bringing in like thousands of employees to Microsoft, like more than Microsoft already has now. So it's pretty crazy to see how many they do have. But I know what you mean. Like maybe they're too spread thin as of right now, and they just need to refocus and regroup. And hopefully we see that in the coming months for sure. But moving on to some good news and a great company that's been making a lot of great impacts. Xbox, bunch of good things going on here. Start off with Halo. Halo did release some numbers. They are now considered the biggest launch of any Halo. So that includes Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, Reach, all of them. It's the biggest. They have over 20 million players as of late. Does this surprise you, Roger?
No, honestly, I think the game did something right. If I was more into competitive Halo as opposed to Valorant, I'd be playing that every week, once a week, at least, if not twice or three times. But honestly, I think there is a little bit of content drought for me. There's not enough stuff to do sometimes in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the game is well designed, in my opinion. I think it's well put together, and there are no issues with it
Right, it's definitely
that
a
I
very
really have.
polished game. Right. What about you, Panda? Did you check out Halo Infinite yet?
Yes, I as soon as it was ready to pre-install, I was installing it. I am a big Halo fan since Halo 1. I've been I've seen competitions. I remember Laserdome having the whole Halo game set, everything. I was excited for Halo. It's about time we see a Halo, not a over the head third person strategy, an actual Halo. And then to top it off, just have all multiplayer. I mean, yeah, they dropped the campaign later, but to just have everyone, hey, this is a free game. This is Halo, one of our biggest flagships. Play this, and then we're going to give you the campaign. This is just a teaser. This is just a teaser. We're going to give you the campaign later, but here, just try this out. Understand the mechanics, which has always been the same for every Halo almost. And when the campaign drops, you guys are going to go crazy. But I was definitely excited for Halo. I'm I I was not surprised at all that this was the biggest launch of their whole franchise career. I'm not surprised because I feel like today it's video games today is on a bigger scale than what it was back in the 2000s. Easily, there's a lot more gamers now than there was back then, and the difference between us now is we're not afraid to deny that we are gamers.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I actually never even thought about it at that point. Is we always talk about inflation in regards to money, but we also got to think about the inflation in regards to player count. And when it comes to the gaming industry, is like you said, back in the early 2000s, gaming was looked at, oh, you're a nerd, you're a geek. To now, it's like, yo, if you don't game, then what's wrong with you? That's kind of
Yeah.
how
That's
it
normal.
flipped. Yeah, it's so normal. If you're not gaming, then you're not normal for at that point. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like to see the numbers, you're like, oh yeah, to be the biggest, no, in a sense of that, but I was a little bit surprised that it was the biggest because they're coming off the big huge flops that they had between Halo 4 and Halo 5 Guardians, because of how awful those were. But there was so much anticipation and hype around this one specifically, where they were like, hey, we realized that we fucked up. We're gonna go and do a soft reboot of the franchise. We're gonna pull some content from the past, give you a little pull your hearts and your strings, but we set up a whole new storyline for Master Chief. And that was phenomenal what they did in that story, and I'm really eager to see how they go about this because Halo Infinite is now a platform apparently. So they're going to add to it new content, and which we're going to dive into in a little bit here into who else might be adding content to Halo Infinite. But I did want to touch on you mentioned about the Halo TV series before the show. They did reveal the release date of that TV show. It is coming out March 24th of this year. So it's in 2 months. So that's big, and the trailer just dropped during one of the football games today as well. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out as soon as possible.
I've not checked it out. I'm
Me
gonna
neither.
wait. I'm gonna wait until every last episode drops for the season and just binge watch.
Okay.
Literally.
Roger, are you excited for the TV show at all? Even though it has nothing to
I
do
don't
with
know.
the regular lore?
I don't know how to feel. I think it's an interesting concept, but everything's getting a TV show.
True.
If I'm gonna be if I'm surprised like I was with the actual gameplay, then yeah, I'll be happy. I think the TV show will be a good thing. But we can only hope that it's good.
Right. Fair enough. Enough of Halo. On to another big staple of the Xbox franchise as of late is Sea of Thieves. They had an event on January 28th, and they kind of laid out a roadmap of what's to come. And boy, they're calling it this their biggest year yet because last year was a really big year for Sea of Thieves with all their quality content updates they got. But they did reveal that the first season of this year is coming out in March. They're coming out with Sea Forts, which consists of 6 new locations that offer solo players opportunities to complete raids, which like have connections to the main storyline that it has, which is something that Sea of Thieves was what lost me. Why I never continued to play it when it first came out is it didn't have a story. It didn't have no story content. It was just go around on a ship with friends, collect some treasure or whatever, and that was it.
Well, yeah, for the first year or two, there wasn't really anything that great about it. It was just kind of like it felt like a science experiment in a new type of genre, and people were like, "Wow, this is great." Now what do I do? And they're like, "Whatever you want." It's like, well, I kind of want something to do, something
Right,
meaningful.
right.
I don't
I
want
need
to just
structure.
Sea
continue.
of Thieves.
I don't want to
I feel
make
like
my own content.
Sea of Thieves is probably a little rushed.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't
can agree
fully
with
thought
that.
about.
And and it was also a game you had to pay for, and it didn't have much content for a paid game. And it was like, well, yeah, I can go around and do whatever, but I'm not looking to get in on another Minecraft, if you will. I'm not looking to get in on the ground level of something that's going to be developed for 15 years and only get a little bit of, trickle every year.
Right. And some more things they did announce though was mysteries, which will be a combination of in and out of game storytelling. They will combine side quests and ARG elements, and players will be able to piece together cues to uncover the whole story. So it's kind of like an Easter egg. It sounds like you put together, you figure out what's going on, and then boom, you get to the end of the story, and you're like, oh shit, like that's pretty cool. But they are also adding adventures, which are more narrative focused live events. Which this was pretty cool because I actually listened into this part of their event. Is the idea behind this is these will be like one of those live events that happen in game that if you miss it, you miss it, but you can watch it later on YouTube. But you have control of what happens during these live events, which will help shape what happens next in the other live events in the future. So like the developers are going to watch what happens in the live events and go, okay, well we got to do now. We have to do this now instead of this because this is what happened. So that's pretty cool. So it's like I don't even know how to. It's something. I don't even know how to describe it honestly. It's something different and pretty cool to see that the content isn't
I
already
can
set in
I
stone.
can understand that. So it's basically, hey, look, here's the game. Make your decision. Whatever you do in this, we're gonna make it on the final.
Right.
And
So
it's kind of smart. It's
right.
giving the people what they want.
Right. It allows you to create and craft a story and then have some good quality updates that go along with it. So I'm all for it. It's definitely something new, and I trust Rare with this because how successful Sea of Thieves has been. But moving on to another part with Microsoft and Xbox related is their subscriptions. So over in the UK, there had some regulatory stuff that was going on where I guess people who don't renew their subscript or don't realize that their subscriptions are renewing over and over and over, they're getting charged that amount. Well, now they're saying, oh, well, we need to be warning that we're about to get charged this and stuff like that. So basically, what's going to happen is if you weren't active on your Xbox subscription, they're going to be like, hey, do you still want it? They're going to email you or however they're going to contact you, and then you're going to be like yes or no. Then you can continue it. Also, if say your 12-month renewal happens and you're 3 months in, they're going to be like, hey, do you want a refund if you don't want to continue your membership? So they're being more open, more consumer friendly, and I hope that this expands to not just the UK but to the world because this is a pretty nice feature because you sometimes you do realize, oh shit, I've been subscribed to Apple Music for 6 months and I haven't even used it at all. And now you have a
Yeah.
chance to get your money back for all those times you never
Well,
used it.
and that's a big thing with a lot of companies. They expect you to forget about your subscriptions and continue to let it charge. And I think not Microsoft, Blizzard is a big one who's gotten in trouble with this. Like World of Warcraft, people will forget about it and it'll kind of tick over, and they don't really tell you. They don't send you a receipt. They don't send you anything if they can help it. They just want to avoid letting you know because they're going to lose their money. And honestly, I think this is a big thing with companies. It's we're going into a subscription model future for everything, and
Right.
and the fact that Microsoft is making this more visible to people, I think is going to be a great thing because previously I know Microsoft wasn't very transparent with their subscriptions.
Hmm.
You had to really dig down to find your subscription. You had to click on something, then go to another site that takes you to another site till finally you found your subscriptions and you could hit the cancel button.
Right. Yeah, they definitely don't make it easy, but now it's starting to become more consumer friendly because I think they're getting like you said, it's becoming more of like a subscription based world where like now we gotta have more control and more visual of like, hey, I have this subscription and I need to be like have more information because we're all human, but we can't just be burning people's pockets because they're forgetting. Like we can't take advantage of that. You're just basically taking advantage of people, and that's not okay. But
I feel like more companies should actually do this. Like I don't have any problem with Microsoft, but for different random companies that are unnecessary, like I don't like the free trials.
hmm
And then, oh, I forgot. And then on my bank statement, I see no. I feel like they should at least 2 weeks let you know, like, hey, your subscription is about to renew. Would you continue? If so, discard this email. If not, click this link. I feel like it should be more trustworthy in companies and be transparent about what actions are going on within their company and trying to make their customers happy, honestly.
couldn't have said it better myself. That hits it right there. And then moving on here to the last thing with Xbox related, they did announce their Games of Gold for February. Not much going on here, honestly. We got Broken Sword 5, The Serpent's Curse, Aerial Knights Never Yield, Hydrophobia, and Band of Bugs. Do any of these games ring a bell to you guys at all?
I've heard of Band of Bugs. I can't remember where, but I know I've heard of it.
Right.
It sounds like some Guitar Hero with bugs.
Right. So I mean, kind of give you a rundown. Broken Sword 5: The Serpent's Curse is like it says you play as American George Stobart and sassy French journalist Nico Collard on a trail of a stolen painting and a murderous conspiracy, and so it's basically like an adventure to just figure out what happened in a murder. Aerial Knights Never Yield. It's kind of like an action game, like but you can speed run. This is like it takes you can be very quick or you can do this very casually. Hydrophobia is like a really old game. I guess it was like a game that had visually breathtaking back in the day, but to me, looking at it now, I'm like, man, that looks awful. But at the time, I guess it was one of those games that pushed the visuals to the limits. It's a third-person survival adventure game if you want to check that out. And Band of Bugs, you play as your avatar and fight against spider bugs, and even your friends in Spider Hunter mode. So it's kind of like just like one of those like silly arcade games from back in the day. So if you want those, go download them. They're included in your gold or Xbox Ultimate membership.
So your avatar, your Xbox avatar,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's from the
smashing
original
bugs.
Xbox 360 days. It was one of those games that came out with like Kingdom of Keflings and a bunch of other ones where your avatar was who you played as. It was that whole you build your character. It's like the Xbox Me.
I was literally about to just say that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
It just sounds like a Wii game.
No, but
Yeah, it's the
but
Xbox Me.
it was kind of gimmicky at that time, but it was like I guess pretty cool because it was one of the very few games that actually used your avatar. I mean, think about it, back in the day. I'm pretty sure we all had 360s. Is every time you loaded up and you looked at your friends list, you saw all your friends' avatars all the time. But
We
you
would also
never
build our avatars, and we wanted them to be, an idea of what we wanted to look like.
right, and there was no purpose for them other than what it looked like on your friends list. Where like this game was like, all right, cool, we're gonna use your avatar in the game. So that was pretty cool. It was just
Finally find a use for an avatar.
right,
Yeah.
just something that probably no one ever played. But moving on here, that's enough Xbox news for today. But we did get some good announcements this week, though. Crytek, they did announce that Crisis 4 is in development, and that's pretty cool because we just
Well, let's just not say Crisis 4. It's actually an additional game in the universe of Crisis, but it will not be titled Crisis 4.
what, and then the trailer had the 4 at the end.
Yeah, they released another thing saying that it's not going to be like the next sequel in the game possibly, that it could be a side game or something in that universe, but it is Crisis though.
Right.
So 3.5.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could be.
Who knows? I mean, but honestly, this kind of explains why we got the Crisis Trilogy remastered recently. Like, that's exactly what most companies are doing. They're going to remaster their older games, release them to you, and go, hey, we got this new one coming out. Go play our old ones, catch up, or
Oh,
whatever.
hype. Tell you the hype.
Yeah, we're going to say the hype. So that's pretty cool. I never played any of the three, but I am going to check out all three of them. I downloaded them, the remastered, on my PC, so I'm definitely going to check them out because I'm really excited. It was a franchise that one of those I missed back in the day.
I remember back in the day where if you built PCs and played PCs, the one big question is, can it run Crisis?
Yes, sir. And it's crazy to think like back in the day, like that game was pushing PCs to the limit, let alone it was on console as well.
And now look at it now. And almost anybody that plays PC can probably run Crisis.
Yeah.
Right. But Roger, I know this one's a pretty big one to you because I know you're excited. Is Crusader Kings 3 was they have a release date for the PS5, the Series S and X for March 29th.
Well, I don't really care too much about the console release of it. It kind of feels like when Civilization went to console. It feels like it's going to be bad because honestly there's so much going on screen that it's just easier to have a mouse and for you to be like, all right, now I'm going to try and play everything with a controller. I only feel bad for the people who are going to experience this game with controller and it's going to suck. And nothing you can do other than say, I apologize, but don't hate the game.
Are you going to check it out on your PS5 and see the difference?
No.
Just get that first-hand experience of how bad it is.
No, I'm not going to spend any money to play this game. I already spent money to play it on the computer. I ain't going to buy it again. No, exactly.
But Panda, you play games like Crusader Kings at all?
No, I might have heard of it. Doesn't ring a bell too often. I probably gonna stay away from it unless one of you guys show me a trailer later, and I might make my decision on that.
Roger, you've played Crusader Kings 3 already on the PC, you said, so.
Oh yeah, a bunch. I'm waiting for the new DLC to come out, which it looks exciting. It's always one of those games that it was like one of the original. For me, Paradox is one of the original companies that does it sort of like not a subscription or anything like that, but the game is always in development. They're always making changes. Like Europa, the current Europa game, where it is now versus where it once came from, the games are completely different. They're completely indistinguishable. You can't tell, that you couldn't tell that they're the same game at some point.
Oh, jeez. But yeah. But Yeah, definitely check it out, Panda. If you want, we can definitely send you some videos or trailers in regards to that. Moving on to looks like our some of our last good news that we have here is Valve. They announced that the Steam Deck is coming out February 25th, so less than a month away. Shipping will begin on the 28th of February. Are you guys planning to pick up the Steam Deck at all?
Well, just so everyone knows, the week before the release day, if you had a pre-order, you have they'll send you an email and you'll be able to redeem that pre-order, I think, within 3 to 4 days. If you choose not to buy it in those 3 to 4 days, you lose your pre-order. So I myself have a pre-order and I'm really on the fence whether or not I want it. I think it's a huge step forward for the industry, but Valve has only disappointed with some of their other pieces of technology. For me, I'm excited to try it because I think this would be really nice to replace a computer right in front of me at my TV and just use this instead.
Right. What about you, Panda?
I feel like that. Okay, yeah, I feel like this is getting hyped up because of the name Valves and Steam. I feel like if you buy just any old handheld PC from Amazon or something like that with a little bit more specs, I feel like it'll be worth more of your money, honestly. I've actually looked into more handhelds because I would like to have the convenience of playing my PC games on the go. I don't want to have to pull out my phone or my Switch or something like that. To have a PC in my hand to play whatever games I want that I have in my library sounds perfect. And I don't think that the Steam handheld PC is going to be strong enough for a lot of AAA games, even though I've seen a little gameplay of it playing Warzone. I don't think that competitively it would stand like have a uh be up there.
Right, right, yeah, for sure. I mean, I hope it can run those AAA, those bigger games on that handheld because they definitely like to showcase the game Control a lot that I've seen, and Control is a very demanding game. So if it's able to run that at a very good fidelity and good quality, then I would say that it's a pretty solid one. But like you said, there's tons of other handheld PCs that you could potentially go with. It just all depends on like how well does the software work, how well does everything just work really well together. Where comes built in with Steam, where you can take it off, take the Steam OS off of it, and then put your own version of Windows on it. So it's very customizable as well. So I'm really excited. I'm probably picking it up later in the year. My goal is to probably pick up a PS5 than a Steam Deck. I don't really need the Steam Deck, but it is something that I would like to have.
I feel like the integration is definitely a good move, but I think just overall, I don't think it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Well, we also know that something that's also not worth it is Hyperscape. Hyperscape is shutting down on April 28th. This is just another one of those battle royales that were released. I think it was by Ubisoft, and just didn't pick up. Didn't get any traction or anything like that. The first week was Hyperscape this, Hyperscape that, and then nothing. Crickets.
Second week, there's nothing because let's be honest, it's a Ubisoft game, and like Ubisoft, they try to follow trends and they fail. And this is just another one of those things where everyone wants their own. Everyone is like, oh, we need to, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, we're just gonna hop on the hype train, make our own game, and try to compete with something that's already done it better.
Right. It was just
I,
definitely one of
I
those
agree
cash
with that.
grabs. It was a cash grab. They were like, "Oh, battle royals are big. Let's make a battle royale." Oh shit, it's not that good. My bad, y'all. That's pretty much all that went. But two more news here related stuff. Unfortunate. Sega is officially dropping out of the arcade business, but will still be making arcade games. So like the software that'll go on the consoles themselves. Sega arcade machines will be rebranded GI Go arcades, which because Sega sold the remaining shares of their arcade business to the company called Genda, I think is how you would pronounce it,
Yeah.
and all of their machines are called GI Go's. So is this surprising to you, Roger?
No, I called it when they closed their largest arcade in center Tokyo. When they closed their biggest and oldest one of their oldest arcades,
Right.
I was like, this is it for Sega. Sega is done with the arcade. Arcades are awesome, but they're a thing of the past. They're something that only the East really dug because as a Westerner, we don't have arcades anymore really, and like they're cool, but nobody wants to go to an arcade to play games anymore. Everyone would rather have the game in their hands. They would rather have it, you know, in the West, we have homes, we have places, we have big living spaces. In the East, you don't. So people have to go somewhere. They don't want to stay in their, one room studio apartment that is tiny and may not even have a shower or a bath. So, it was a hangout spot for us. We don't want to play these games anymore. So Sega, the market share is so small, and because of COVID, they can't make money. So
Right.
I didn't see. I was like, wait, they still had arcade shares?
Right. Yeah, I didn't. It was very minimum. I guess it was like 15% or something like that. So they didn't really have much of a stake left. But fair enough. But Panda
But
did.
to piggyback off of that, so you also have to think about technology and where we stand on technology. We have emulators. You can play all these games for free. You can get a
Mhm.
Raspberry Pi, custom OS, put all the ROMs you want on there.
Mhm.
There's your cabinet. So a lot of it's sad because I love the look of an arcade, the atmosphere of an arcade, the smell of the arcade. But for right now, 2022, arcades are sadly are dead, and it hurts. But at
Mhm.
the same time, technology it's going to continue to evolve no matter what. So I honestly think Sega made a good choice
Mhm.
to sell what they have because we never know. Next year their share might go down dramatically.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's definitely a good point. Is thinking about it like the business aspect, because maybe a year from now, those shares might not even be worth anything, or next to nothing at all. Versus at least they got some kind of value out of this, and that they can hopefully use towards good games. Because you figure Sega still has it for they make games for consoles as well. Like we know about all those, like because they got Sonic coming out. Like I'm very interested to see what how now that they can 100% focus on just making games, making software, and not have to worry about the hardware part of it anymore. But last but not least, Evil Dead the game was delayed until May of this year. Not really too big surprise on this. I'm okay with games being delayed because if you need that time, delay it. Don't make your developers crunch and go through and put them in bad situations both mentally and physically because you
Well,
that kind of stuff affects home as well.
yeah,
So
and
you
not
gotta
only
think.
this game is a rebranding of essentially an already existing genre. We've got things like it.
Hmm.
It's that 4v1, uh dungeon master versus players kind of mentality where you've got one big bad that you're trying to defeat as four players or escape from. And this is an already existing genre. We already have games in this genre. So if you try to rush the game and push it out on an IP alone, it's going to fail. So take the time you need. Don't try to just ride on the fact that it's Evil Dead. Evil Dead's a cult classic. It's not like it's, everyone's favorite movie.
Yeah, exactly, and because like you said, the other games you got Friday the 13th, and then you also got Dead by Daylight or
Dead by
whatever.
Daylight.
Those are two of the biggest ones in that genre right now. So yeah, you definitely don't want to go up against two very successful IPs right now, and try to say, oh, I'm just gonna write it off of the name Evil Within or Evil Dead. Sorry, jeez,
Dead.
Evil Dead. So like you definitely don't want to write off of that. What's your take on this, Panda?
I feel like as you brung up Friday 13th, it's slowly dying, sadly. But I feel like I played Dead by Daylight multiple times, hours at a time. I feel like we do need a new horror because I'm a big horror fanatic.
Hmm.
But like you guys were saying, I don't think it should be rushed. I think they should look at each of these two big name titles, see what they have, see what the people in their target audience, see what they want, and try to craft those two games, the best things about all those two games, and then put in the feedback from other people that actually love horror games and mash it into one game, and do not forget about it. Continue to update it and make sure when it comes out day one that it is stable. We don't want another Outriders.
You were for sure about that. Outriders could have done a little bit better than what they did. I'm actually
I
excited
was
to go back.
excited.
I'm
I'm
excited to
not.
go back to it because I beat it solo, but I do want to play it as a co-op. But moving on to our next segment here, our game rumors of the week. So there's some rumors going around circulating that either a Gears of War or Fable franchise is getting the Master Chief Collection, where they're gonna remake all the games and put it into one collection. Roger, which game would you prefer get this kind of treatment?
Well, honestly, we're probably going to see the Fable get a full remaster for the whole collection because we've keep getting rumors that they want to make a Fable game. So right
Well,
now, I
it's
think,
not a rumor; it's actually in development.
yeah,
Remember, by
it is in development. Yeah,
the people of Playground Games who makes Forza Horizon.
yeah.
So,
So, we're probably going to get something to build up the hype, to continue the hype. Honestly, Gears, I think, is one of those series that we've already got a remastered at one point. Not a remaster, a full collection, but when you had bought one of the games, they gave you all the previous games as
mhm.
digital copies. I'd honestly like to see the Gears saga come to PC. If we do get a collection, it's gonna end up on Game Pass and it's gonna end up on PC, and I really hope that's what we get.
Right, and you were alluding to when they remade or remastered Gears of War One. You got
Yeah,
2, 3, and Judgment, and I think maybe
Remember
4.
that?
But you got the 360 versions when you bought that version of the game, so it was kind of like weird.
yeah,
I would prefer to have a Gears of War a remastered collection because like it's kind of what Halo did. They remastered Halo One. They were like, oh, here's Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition, whatever they called it. And then like,
yeah.
a couple years later, they were like, well, here's Master Chief Collection. They remade all of the games now at that point. So it only makes sense that, okay, they remade Gears. Now let's remake the entire collection. Because we can't forget, Gears of War 5 was a very successful release recently. And Gears 6 is in development. So it's just like, you can build off of that hype. But I do see the Fable because Fable is one of those like lost hidden gems from the Xbox days that Fable 1, 2, and 3 kind of went under the radar for most gamers. So to remaster that, to build up hype to for the new Fable coming out, that's being made by Playground Games, which we all know can do a phenomenal job at making a game. Um, it only makes sense. So either of them, I would be down for. But if I had to choose one, definitely Gears of War. But what about you, Panda?
I would much rather a Fable. I played 1 and 2. I loved it. I feel like Gears, even with the latest Gears that came out, Gears 5, it's okay, but it's more recent than Fable. Fable is an old classic game, and I feel like it doesn't get as much appreciation as it should. Yeah, you just said that they're making a new Gears of War 6.
Mm-hmm.
So they're focusing already on a new flagship for Gears. So with that being said, they should actually remaster the whole franchise for Fable. Better graphics, the same story. I love the story. Keep the same story, just better graphics, better mechanics. And I think it'll everybody will love it because we already have Gears of War. We can play Gears of War already. There's
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of consoles and PC places where we can actually play Fable. I remember Fable when it was on Xbox. That's it. I mean, Gears, yes, was a Microsoft exclusive, but people now that have a PC, they already know about Gears. Let's put them on something new.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. The last Fable we got was Fable 3 back in 2010, so it's been 12 years since we had a Fable game. I do believe that all three Fables are on Game Pass, so if people who have not checked out Fable yet can go check that out for sure, unless you want to wait around for this potential remastered collection of Fable. So definitely be eager to see what comes to fruition. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear an announcement this year, whether it be sometime in March or April, or if we have to wait until the E3 timeframe to hear about this. But I don't think we'll hear about this later in the year. I think this will be more of like a early to mid year announcement. But another rumor or kind of like more of like a thought in this point is Nvidia's RTX 3050 appears to be terrible for mining. They're not 100% sure if it's even capable of really mining in general. I think this could be good for those who need a graphics card because they're being bought up. Like we talked about earlier with the bots, they're just being bought up instantly because of the whole let me mine for cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. Is this good news to hear, Roger, that it's terrible at mining?
Yeah, honestly, I'm so against just angered by mining, but I'm excited to see the 3050 is bad for it because that means people, yeah, are not going to want to buy it.
What about you, Panda? Are you looking to upgrade your
I
graphics
feel that
card at all?
I feel this. I've been wanting to upgrade my GPU for the longest. I hate bots. I hate scalpers. I feel like even if this is not true, tell everyone that it is true. Then people won't buy it as much. Honestly. But I feel like the cryptocurrency mining, I feel like a lot of people buy these expensive cards thinking they're going to hit gold. I doubt it happens that way. And for people that actually care and love about PCs and game, I feel like they are the people that honestly really need them, not someone that's trying to get rich quick. But
Yeah,
yeah, I hope it is terrible, and I hope everyone sells it at retail.
at retail. Good luck, especially if they're reselling it. That's the problem. Everything's just getting bought and resold immediately because they're gonna make a really good profit off of it.
$1,200. Nope, I want it for retail.
Right. I think, and the thing is, I think the 3050 is supposed to go for what, like 250. I think $250, or just somewhere around that in that price range. So it's supposed to be like one of those.
150
It,
MSRP.
it's supposed to be that affordable one because, like, I think we were talking about it in our Discord servers. Someone had a chance to buy one and he didn't want to because of he already has like a 1660, which is, I guess, like basically the same GPU as the 3050.
Hmm.
So like it's one of those like base model entry models, but it's like an updated version, so it's going to run a little bit smoother. But moving on to our next rumor, Call of Duty Warzone 2 might be in development. Is this what Warzone needs, or can they just like fix things first? Or what's your take on this, Panda? Are you a Warzone player?
Yes, sir, I am. I just played a couple games today. All right, so I feel like for them to call it a Warzone 2, it doesn't it doesn't sit well with me. I feel like they should be more focused on the hacks and the mods and things like that, and to build a better relationship with the community. I know a lot of streamers, they tweet, "Hey, they're cheating," something like that, and I feel like that they need to focus more on the guns. Curious about what this next Call of Duty is going to be. I'm pretty sure this Warzone 2 is going to be on the new Call of Duty. I feel like they should go back to square one and actually think about everything that they've done since uh, Warzone 1. And I hope that one day that they will stop taking off game modes and just keeping them on and
Hmm.
just have different special events.
Right. What's your take on this, Roger? I know we kind of fell off of Warzone, but is Warzone 2 the answer?
Honestly, I think it's a poor excuse for what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get away from the fact that they've already fucked up Warzone. They're like, oh, let's just re-release the game and maybe it'll reinvigorate people to come back and play. And I think the issue at hand is I thought Warzone was supposed to be, a platform, the future of what Call of Duty, you know, PUBG doesn't have PUBG 2. Fortnite didn't make Fortnite 2. It's just the same game and they just keep redoing it. I think what they need to do is instead of trying to rebrand the game, just fix your damn game. Seriously, it is Blizzard Activision being a bunch of crybaby bitches. And don't get me wrong, it's made by the company that the company that just did the unionization. It's Raven.
Hmm.
So maybe this union will be good for it. Maybe this union will help fix issues that'll allow them to talk back and make their voices heard. But I think Call of Duty Warzone 2, if it's true, I think it's a mistake.
Right. Alluding to what you saying that PUBG 2 never came out, but Fortnite 2 is a thing. Kind of when they went to a new chapter, they redid the engine a little bit, and it's actually going to be doing that again when they transition everything to
But
Unreal Engine 5.
you still played like you still launched the same executable and then it just updated itself.
Right, and I think that's what Call of Duty needs to do with Warzone in this sense is, okay, when we want to come out with Warzone 2, it's not another game that you buy or not buy, but you update Warzone 1 with updates that make sense, that are going to patch everything and fix everything and make everything better.
That explains a little bit more. That sits a little better with me more than just, hey, you got to download a whole separate game
Right.
in order to play this.
Because
Uh,
the real question is what about all my cosmetics that I just spent buying in Warzone 1? Are they going to carry over to Warzone 2? Probably not. They're going to make you rebuy all that stuff again. I mean, from a business standpoint, like, oh man, we got to make more money. They got to buy skins. They don't have no skins now.
Well, we're bleeding money because we're a terrible company. We got to make our money back. We got to make it back.
Yeah, and it's a free to play game, so like they're just trying to just milk as much as they can, and having it's Call of Duty. They're gonna make money off of it regardless. So it's just like we, as a consumer, we gotta put our foot down eventually. Because I don't know about you, but I sure as hell can't play Warzone now. I don't even know how you played a couple games a day. I'm not playing Warzone when I gotta worry about fucking Harry Potter and Ron Weasley flying around in cars, taking people out. It doesn't make sense. You're telling me that has not been patched yet? That should have been like, oh, one flying car patched, done. It's been over a week and they still
I
haven't
will
fixed this.
say, if they do come out with this Warzone 2 and it's a whole different game, I will call it right now. The first DLC they're going to have and they're going to market is the Rose skin, and that's how you're going to know that this company is money hungry. It's a skin from the last Warzone, the
Right.
first Warzone, and you're going to put it into this new game where you have to buy everything all over again.
Yeah.
It's probably, if it's not going to be the same price, it's going to be a little bit more, just to see how much money they get.
It sounds about right. It's so sad, man. I really hope that this isn't true, and I hope that everything works out in our favor. Because I'm hoping enough, like by the time Warzone 2 comes out, whether it's this year, next year, whenever, that Microsoft already has their hands in this and control of this and does the right thing. That's the only thing we can hope is Microsoft can be the superhero that we need.
I love Microsoft. Microsoft is doing great things, and I am very happy to say I am a Xbox Microsoft fanboy.
Fair enough. I think we are. All of us here on this panel are definitely in the same boat for the most part. I know Roger just got a PS5, but he's a PC. He's a
Sony
PC gamer.
sucks.
He got it for the only exclusives they have
Uh,
is the three exclusives they get.
what, God of War, Spider Man, and
Ratchet and Clank.
Well,
okay, classic.
yeah,
I
no,
guess.
there'll be a tons of exclusives that I'd rather just play on PS5 instead of waiting, 5 years to play it on computer.
Unless they boost that up, and once they start releasing day and date PS5 and PC, you're gonna be like,
Then
man,
there's
fuck
no
that
reason.
PS5. Who
Yeah.
wants my PS5? I'm selling it.
I
Yep.
wish they do come out with a VR. I'm curious on how that would look on an Xbox VR.
They're supposed to be
Not
having one.
the Kinect, but a actual Xbox VR.
Right. Well, apparently they have one. It's called HoloLens. It's like an augmented virtual
Oh, I know
reality.
what that is.
Yeah, that's supposed to be their AR thing. So we'll see how that plays out if it even happens for sure.
Is it
But
compatible with Xbox? Or I know that's for PC.
Well, no, it's meant to be Microsoft, not Xbox. That's the thing. It's Microsoft's augmented reality.
right. So it'll be interesting to see if they find a way to make it like compatible with the Xbox or not, or if it's a PC only rig, or solo if it doesn't have to be plugged into
Well,
anything.
and the HoloLens is more than unaffordable. It's, over 3 grand for one.
Right. Because
Jeez.
it's
How
technology
powerful is it?
it's technology way ahead of its time.
That's true.
It's
And
like
it's Microsoft we're
it's
talking
it's
about.
augmented reality with virtual reality. It's I don't know how they do it, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But we got one more gaming rumor to touch on. The developer company called Certain Affinity has two news that came out this week, and apparently they're in development of a Xbox exclusive Monster Hunter style game. And I think this would be huge because this is a game, like a genre, excuse me, that Microsoft is kind of missing, and I think it'd be pretty cool to have them make an exclusive one. Roger, what's your thoughts on this?
I think if we get a new Monster Hunter style of game, I hope that they can do the series well. Because it's definitely a grindy type of game, and if we get a good rendition of it, I think honestly it could sell. It's something that not many people have. It's a Japanese genre, so I you can only hope to see what happens out of it.
Right, and with Certain Affinity, they've had their hands in many Halo titles. They helped out with Crimson Alliance. They've helped out with Left 4 Dead, the Transformers Online game, a bunch of different games they've had their hands in. But I think this might be their first time to step up and actually develop a game themselves. And I think this would be a pretty cool entry because Microsoft is missing that Japanese titles. They have Evil Within. They have one Japanese studio. That's it. That makes Evil Within Tango Gameworks. So maybe this is their another way to help out and get into that Japanese market. What's your thoughts on this, Panda?
So I feel like this is a step. This could be a big step for Microsoft because now we know Sony is in Japan. So I've seen this game on Sony plenty of times. That's how I know that I had to look it up real quick. I've seen that game title on Sony. For it to be on Microsoft, it's we'll see how it goes. But I am excited because I love Japanese games, and I love I love something that's appealing to the eyes. I like a somewhat of a story, but I'm more focused on the graphics than anything else. And if they speak Japanese, that's an A+ in my books.
No doubt about that. And another rumor in regards to Certain Affinity is that they're in. I guess this is potentially might have been confirmed in a way, but they're making a new game mode for Halo Infinite that helps ease players into the experience, where it makes it less sweaty, is what they described it as. Basically, instead of being jumping in, you got to be very competitive, got to be laser focused to be able to play. This is going to be something more laid back, where it's more of like a PVE experience. Roger, what's your thoughts on this? Is this going to be like Firefight like that we had back in the day?
I don't know, but if it's like Firefight, I'm excited for it because honestly, I think there needs to be more things to do
Mm-hmm.
inside of. I think we just need more things in Halo to do other than the campaign and multiplayer.
Right, and especially with the lack of Forge not there yet, and the lack of co-op not there yet, like two crucial parts where I don't know about you, Panda, but me and Roger have spent tons of hours playing co-op Halo and playing Forge all the time. Like we spent a lot of time playing that, as opposed to playing it solo and that's it. So is there something that you would be looking forward to?
So I feel like that the PVE, I think it's a good standpoint, but at the same time, does Halo have a skill-based matchmaking that actually works? Because if they don't, they should give that a try, or implement something like a boot camp, like
Mm-hmm.
Warzone does, or something like that. Or try to give them bot lobbies to actually get them warmed up,
Well, they do
or
got bot lobbies
something.
in that game. Like you can load up like the beta did. Like your first time playing the beta, you actually had to load up play bots.
They should then the user should just play that until they feel more
Hmm.
comfortable and play some PvE until they get the confidence up to, okay, I'm gonna go play this online for real. That's how I feel, honestly.
Right. What about like Roger was alluding to, like adding more content? Like, would you see this as like a separate mode, like Call of Duty has like Spec Ops or Zombies, or Gears of War with Horde, and what Halo used to have was Firefight.
I feel like they should add some more stuff. Yes, the multiplayer in the campaigns is great, but I do feel like as in the name of in the franchise of Halo, I think they should have a little bit more to offer because they and as a company, you want to please almost everyone in your target audience. You can have this area of playing multiplayer. This group is playing online. What there's certain things that a company needs to do as far as gaming to please another part of group to make that group turn from another game to love your company. It's all about bringing somebody else's fan base and buzz to your game to grow your business.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one. And but looks like that's all the topics we got this week. So, any last comments or remarks from either of you guys?
Thanks for joining us today, guys. I know it was no countdown or, getting anything ready here, but thanks for joining us for the co-op stream and thanks Panda for coming on. Appreciate your opinions and your views on things.
Now, I do have a question for you guys.
Yeah,
What are you guys' thoughts on Saints Row?
I'm excited for the new game.
Yeah, I'm
Same.
I'm very excited. I'm hoping this could be the finally a GTA killer because it's ready for GTA 5 to die, and
I
GTA
beat
6 needs to be
I
put in
beat
a good
every
run.
one besides 4. I'm not touching 4.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty
4
bad.
was good.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
Have you
4.
played Agents of Mayhem?
No, I don't remember.
It's a Saints Row knockoff.
Oh no, I ended up playing. Yeah, I played GTA 4, and that was like the first one I played, and I honestly liked it.
Oh,
I also played a lot of multiplayer too.
were you talking about Saints Row 4 or GTA 4?
I'm talking about Saints Row 4.
Sorry, Saints Row 4. Saints Row 4, I did play. It was okay.
It was probably one of the worst ones in the series.
Oh,
Yeah,
easily,
yeah, it definitely
easily.
was
That's why
okay
that's
at
why I
best.
had its long absence for sure. But definitely want to thank everyone who checked us out live today and anybody who checks us out later on YouTube. Be sure to check these episodes out live every Sunday at 7 p.m. But we definitely want to thank Panda again for coming on the show. That was great for having you. If you want to go ahead and plug your social medias or websites or anything out there that you want to throw out there.
Just Google me, who is PandaSole, all together, SOLE. I'm on all platforms. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere else on the same handle.
Where do you stream at?
On Twitch.
On Twitch? Perfect. By the same name?
Yep.
Awesome.
Everything. Cross platforms.
There you go. What about you, Roger?
Everyone knows where to find me, I assume, at this point, but you can see me at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion.
Awesome. And of course, you can check me out at Twitter at MrNeverChillin _, Xbox's XNeverSpaceChillin, Gamer Party Up. Questions, concerns, want to come on the show is at Facebook at Vic Brubacher, and I'm streaming here always until we keep growing this community. But I want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.